So Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is me Kainat Baloch, and in this video I am to talk about the improvement of English, that if you are interested in English and if you want to learn this language, then how you will learn this. So first of all, for learning a language you need to take interest in that, and after that you should work hard, you should struggle, and you should spend time with that. And you should know this also, that everything takes time. That's why nothing will come to you earlier, okay, or naturally. Also you need to work. First of all, you need to struggle, you need to invest, and then you can get the profit, then you can get the results of your hard work, your achievements. Okay, so first of all, what you have to do, you have to spend time, and after spending time with that language, with that subject, you should also work on that. You are just spending time and there's no focus of yours, then there's no value of spending that time with that thing or with that subject. Okay, so that's why work hard, spend time, and after that, in the starting of everything would be too much simple and too much common. Yeah, when you will speak English first, it would be too much common, but it doesn't mean that you will not speak then, because you are learning. It's your learning stage. You have to ever keep this thing in your mind while speaking, that it's my starting. No matter how I am speaking, no matter how the pronunciation of my words are, no matter how the method is being created by me for speaking this language, you haven't to think this, that I am not speaking like this, I'm not speaking like that, it just means that I have to speak. Not, no, until you are thinking this, that I am not speaking like this girl, or I am not speaking like that boy, you will never speak English. First of all, break the legs of English. You can break the legs of hand. You can move this in any direction, but you haven't to change the goal. You haven't to change the aim. You know people very well that one thing, if you are not doing one thing, it doesn't mean that you will change that thing forever. No, if you, here is a language, for example, if I'm talking about English now, you are learning English, okay, and you have applied multiple methods, multiple strategies, multiple ways for learning this language. However, you could not be capable to learn this. Now what you should do, you should not change the language. Instead of English, you should not learn Farsi. Instead of Farsi, you should not learn Arabic. You should learn English, but with the different planes. Okay, if you are not being capable to achieve the goal, doesn't mean that you will change goal. It just means that you need to change the planes for achieving that goal. This is what you should do, and you can do this. It's very easy to do. And after that, if I talk about language, then learning language in these days is very easy. It's easiest task. It's not difficult. In these days, people are being billionaires, millionaires, and you are just still thinking this, that how to learn language. Doesn't matter. It not matters that if you're thinking that how to learn English, but instead of being distressed, instead of being worried about this, that how to learn this language, you should think and you should figure out novel kind of planes for learning this language. You should figure out novel kind of activities. You should talk to someone in English. There are the multiple planes, literally. Until you are not taking interest in English, you are not going to learn English. That's why interest is very important. Interest literally plays disparate and such a different role individually in everything. That's why take interest, and after that, after taking interest, just observe. You just, after that, you just need to observe, and you just need to perceive how things are being done. Okay, if you are not interested in something, you will never learn that. That's why for learning something, you need to take interest, and focus is very important. Yeah. For example, if you are interested in English, you want to learn English, you are interested in English, you want to speak this English, and when you study, your focus, you cannot preserve focus on that thing. How will you learn that? You will never learn this language in this way. That's why you need to focus on this language. You need to take interest in this language. You need to spend time with it. You need to work, you need to struggle, and you also need to do some novel kind of activities at your home. Yeah, for learning a language you need to create that kind of environment at your home. You have to figure out at any specific place. If you want to learn a language you need to be lonely. You have to speak to yourself. Lonely you have to hear. Lonely you have to do that all which could not be done by anybody else. Okay, and work silently. In this time everyone wants to do something different. Everybody, as peoples are being businessmen, and peoples are doing something different. As it is you can do, but it doesn't mean that you will open this in front of them. No, peoples are doing everything silently. If you are saying to everybody that I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm learning language and I have learnt language, it just means you are telling to everybody to beat you. Would you like to do this? No, then you are doing this and you are not letting yourself realize this, that what you are doing. That's why don't try to do anything like this. Okay, so the best tricks for learning English is here. Listen. Until you are not listening, you are not going to exposing a single word of this language. That's why, and it's a gospel truth, that if you not hear, you will never expose that in front of someone. If we talk about our native languages, then in childhood we have to hear, we have to listen. We was unable to speak our native language, our mother tongue at that point of time, right? So at that point of time, what we done? We heard, we listened how our parents used to speak, how our family used to speak, and after hearing them, we could speak, right? So English is like this. I know now you will, multiple people from you will think this, that we had got that kind of environment at that point of time, but now there's nothing like this. It does not matter if you have not that environment, if you have not that kind of activities, if you have not that kind of company. But the sources, whatever you have in these days, these sources you hadn't got at that point of time. Social media is the biggest source. Literally at that point of time you used to hear the words, the speaking from people. Now you can do this all from social media also. This will help you, this will assist you, but before that you need to struggle and you need to take interest in this language. Okay, so listen. As much as you listen, you will have that much words to expose ever, and after that speak. Why you are learning English? Because of speaking, right? So that's why until you are not speaking, there is no value of that listening. So try to speak English, try to, it does not matter how you are breaking the legs, the hands of English. You are speaking, it's enough. Everybody wants to speak. Okay, don't think that I have not fashionable words, I have not fancy words, that's why I am not going to speaking. I have seen multiple people they were making this mistake, that we have not a fashionable words, we have not a fancy words, that's why we will never speak English. It's very bad. I already have told you this thing, that starting of everything would be too much simple. Okay, starting of everything would be too much common. Commonly you have to speak, commonly you have to figure out the companions to speak, and you just have to make conversations with them. Then see how the things are happening to you individually. And keep one thing in your mind, for learning something you don't need to be great. Okay, you don't need to be great for learning. You should learn from being great. Keep it in your mind. So something more about English I will tell you in next video, but you have to do this. First, what you have to learn, you have to struggle, and then you have to listen. Listening is the best. That's why listen, and after that speak English. And better would be, I think, to speak to someone rather than yourself. You can speak to yourself, you can speak to the walls, you can speak to the home. Because when I started learning, I had not got any kind of super company to speak. Literally I was alone, and I mainly am self-educated. However, I used to speak to the doors, I used to speak to the windows, I used to speak to the walls. So I used to consider them as a man, as a woman, as my friend. So in this way I practiced a lot, and mainly I talked to myself. Mainly I talked to myself, and still I'm talking to myself. And in this way you can study, in this way you can talk to yourself for improving a language, for doing something. You can do this. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video, and after that, if you think this was helpful for you, then like it, subscribe it, and follow it. Thanks.